Hello everyone, and welcome back. It's been a bit of a hiatus for me here, working on the Cadillac project, and haven't really gotten too much productive work done, but there are a few things that I'd like to talk about. So here on the table in front of me, you see the heads that we removed previously. I have since gone to a machine shop, and I discussed with him, with the guy there, some details about possible work to do and these type of things. So I wanted to take a closer look at observing the details that are here in front of us, and then I suppose you'll know something more about the future of the project, and yeah, let's get into it. So, here in front of us are the heads, and at first glance, they seem very similar. They came off of this. There's one, driver's side, and there's one passenger side. But here they are. And there is some inherent difference, I believe, between the driver and the passenger side. But what I had not observed at the time of removing them from the block was that the numbers here, the casting numbers, or I suppose the part numbers, are actually different. So, and really I had no expansive knowledge to draw from to make any conclusions with this information, but again, discussing with a machine shop, engine machine shop expert, we discussed a few details. So here you'll see the part number 1459736, and here you'll see the part number 1456439. So those numbers clearly are not the same. They're both for a 1949 to 1952 or something like that. Cadillac Series 62 with the same engine type, or the same displacement engine and the same type of engine. So in theory everything would be the same, except between those years there are some changes that went on in the production of the vehicles. So here I have two of the same type of cylinder head. It seems like everything is similar, but there are some innate differences, and we'll go through some of that right now. The secondary note would be these other numbers here. I believe those define the date of casting of the heads. So if you're wondering what those numbers are, I believe that is what that is. Right, so the first major difference, we're gonna tip these up here so you can get a better look, and I'm gonna get my pointing tool. The first difference is very difficult to spot if you're not observing and looking for this. So if you look, this here is the combustion chamber. So the way that the engine works, when the piston is at the top dead center, so essentially what we're seeing here, where it's at the topmost position, all of the stuff that would be in the cylinder opening, there'll be the air to fuel mixture that you need to create explosions to drive the vehicle. At the top of this position, all that stuff has been injected into the cylinder. So let me backtrack here for a sec. Closer to the bottom position like this, those substances are thrown into here, and then as the engine moves, it pushes that back up, and I will turn it here and show you that. So as it moves up, similar to this, so we're somewhere near the top there, into this kind of position, it compresses all of those, all that, the air to fuel mixture, and it compresses it into what this compartment would be, the combustion chamber, because this would be like here. So essentially the volume and the pressure of your air to fuel mixture substance, that would be compressed into this chamber. So when we look at this chamber here, you can try and look closely at the curvature down there and the position of the spark plug. If we look at this here, you can see it's certainly a little different. The spark plug position, you can tell right away that something different is going on here. And this one seems to be deeper that way. So this edge seems a lot deeper than this edge here. So that means that these two have a different compression ratio. So I'm sure the Google can tell you more about how that how that defines the operation of the engine. But essentially, you want the compression to be the same on both sides. And clearly, in this situation, it would not be. Right. So let's observe another difference. And this one is a little harder. I guess I can have it in this position. So when I went to the engine machine shop, the guy stuck his fingers into these holes. These are the exhaust ports, or sorry, the intake ports, and he just kind of felt around in there to see, to feel the shape of the opening. So when you go to this one and you feel around, it's a bit different in there. See, now I can only describe it to you, but essentially by feel you can tell that there's some difference inherent between these two. So even though they look very similar and they'll match up, there are differences. All right. In addition to that, here's another difference that maybe is not important, or maybe it is, but we can observe it. If you look at the sides here, it's all flat, it's all cast. If you look at the sides here, you can see there's a freeze plug. There's one on both sides of this one. See, here it is again. And here, there's nothing. And here, there's nothing. So again, we see from some details that these two are actually different. Now, would we have known that they're different passenger side compared to driver side, or what causes the differences? Really, it would be difficult to know without having prior knowledge in the field. So I can't say I blame myself really for not realizing that, but now moving forward, I'm gonna have to make some decisions as to how to approach that. So finding, I guess, let's talk about how to rectify the situation. There's a few different possibilities here. One of which is finding the opposite side head with this number on it, or finding the opposite side head for this number. It's not really the easiest thing to do, and I believe that's why it would be difficult to restore everything here. Finding parts. After that, there need to be some work done on both of the parts, the ones with the matching numbers, and then after that, I suppose it can be decided how to put it back together. Alternatively, I've seen some suggestions of using 390 cubic inch heads from a later model Cadillac, and then making the size, the bore of these larger. So making this larger displacement, getting heads with larger displacement, and in theory those match up. And this guy added a bunch of racing parts and he made it work somehow. So there is some other option like that where there's a possibility of fun making a racing engine type of thing. I think I will be avoiding that option because I would like to have a more defined and a more I guess economic approach. Maybe it's not economic, but the next alternative, of course, would be getting a new engine and calling it quits on this one. Because if you can't find this, or if you can't find these to match with that, then that is practically useless. And if you can't make this work, then the transmission here also matches up pretty specifically to the block here. So that might be another question. And then the drive shaft, how does that match up if you put a new engine and transmission in? Again, that's another question. So you can easily go down that path, and it would be a bit of a bummer to get rid of this or to give up on this, but that could be another solution. So yeah, I guess those are pretty much the options. And maybe the ultimate economic option is to get not a new engine, but a new used engine, let's say out of some kind of junkyard car, and figure out a way to jam it in here. So I guess there's a fourth option. All right, and I also wanted to point out a few things about this that I think will be important in my decision making. I've learned that looking at all this with the machine shop guy, I've learned some things here about the way that the valves are seated. So essentially, these valves are very, very close together. You can see in this engine, and the workaround that someone else had figured out, which I was discussing before about enlarging the bore and using different cubic inch displacement heads. Another factor in their decision making was that, in theory, these heads actually have some inherent design. I wouldn't say it's a flaw, because in 1950 there wasn't really, or in that generation of vehicles, there wasn't really the modern knowledge about how this stuff all works, and this configuration of engine wasn't completely refined. So of course someone had to make mistakes in order to progress the technology. So there are some inherent flaws to these, and we believe that this is a flaw, where this the gap between these is very, very small. So the larger cubic inch heads actually have a clear gap, maybe 1/8 of an inch or more between these, and that's not just this part of it. Underneath here, you got to know that there's, the way that this all moves around. So there's like opening in there. So there's some material that has to breach the opening for this to seat properly and this to seat properly. So that material can be a weak spot, I believe, for these, and cause the head to crack, essentially, or to be damaged just from normal operations. Again, it might seem like a huge problem. Oh, I guess I should add, that's especially true if you're using modern gas. And this engine was, again, different compression ratios here, but these were intended for lower compression than we have in our modern cars. So modern cars with modern fuel works just fine. Older cars with older fuel probably was relatively reliable, but older cars, again, I say relatively because of this flaw. And but older cars with modern ethanol enriched fuels can lead to more trouble and faster failures. So I guess in the decision making of the future of this project, we'll have to consider that as well. I mean, is it cost efficient one way, or is it cost efficient the other way? How much money is going to be put into this? With this approach, even let's say I could find another one of these for cheap, I would still need to get the machining work done on both of them. Machining work needs to be done on this, and who knows what secrets are to be revealed here, and what parts need to be replaced. And then again, we'll look at the other possibilities, getting, let's say, a new drivetrain, but then that comes with its own set of challenges. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have on this analysis, and thank you for watching.